Guess this means we're unemployed. Yeah.
Rogue Hostage, storyline, and everything you need to know. If there's one category of movies that the majority of the world can enjoy, it's action, with this genre able to succeed with little to no big names or twist in its lineup. But unfortunately for viewers, it's also a category that's been lacking in recent months. That being said, the release of Rogue Hostage in just a few days' time looks to be aimed at disrupting this disappointing turn of events, leading to a launch that is sure to make our collective hearts beat faster. But what do we actually know about Rogue Hostage? And when can we expect to watch this action-packed film? Well, whether you've been looking for a new movie to get your hands on or just want to know as much as possible about Rogue Theory before buying your ticket, stay right here where you are, as we're about to explore everything there is to know about the title. So strap yourself in and get ready for a bumpy ride, as things are about to get exciting. But before we get into it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to this video with notifications on so you don't miss any of our new posts. The origin of Rogue Hostage. Let's get into it. For those of you who don't know, Rogue Hostage is an upcoming action thriller starring Tyrese Gibson, John Malkovich, and Michael J. White. And although the film is looking to be released across the globe in the next few days with little or no hype surrounding it, it must be said that this is not always the case. You see, Rogue Hostage was actually announced over a year ago, with filming essentially wrapping up in September of last 2020. But rather than releasing the film at the time of which a majority of theaters were still closed, director Jon Keeyes and writer Mickey Solis asked Vertical Entertainment whether it could be delayed by a few months. This caused the movie to essentially drop off the action radar, allowing other installments, such as Monster Hunter and Mortal Kombat, to step into the spotlight. This was pretty disappointing to say the least, as Rogue Hostage had always been described as a film that pays homage to Die Hard, which is still considered to be one of the greatest action franchises in the history of the industry. In fact, when speaking on the relevance of this film, Keeyes went on to say that Rogue Hostage fills the need that was left by Die Hard. Fans of the action genre have been asking for a similar film for over a decade now, with many absolutely loving the rush of the defusal of a hostage situation set in a unique environment. So how on earth did lovers of the action movies forget about this highly anticipated installment up until now? Well, as it turns out, the original title for the film was set to be Red 48, which is likely to light up the synapse of your brain if you're a true action movie fiend. But it was then in May of this year that Vertical Entertainment made the decision to change the name about the film to Rogue Hostage, releasing its official trailer and forgetting all about the name it had previously used up until that point. But don't be fooled by the change, as Rogue Hostage is looking to be exactly what was promised of Red 48. And when it comes to the general lack of buzz that the film has received, we genuinely don't believe that this is something that could be helped. Due to the spread of COVID-19 in the region, Rogue Hostage missed its opportunity to be screened at a variety of film festivals, which means that all we really know about the installment is what's already been disclosed in interviews and trailers. And we'll get to that. Pretty scary considering how much information we're usually able to get our hands on out of the mouths of our early reviewers. The release date of Rogue Hostage. Unfortunately for us, the world has changed with the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. It used to be the case that fans were told well in advance when they could expect to see a film showing up at the cinema near them. In fact, more often than not, this information was relayed at least a few months before a trailer was even dropped for the first time. This was especially true in reference to action-packed Marvel movies, which had fans marking their calendars a full 2 years in advance. But then the dangerous virus, that is COVID-19, and its variants began to spread across the globe, causing a number of countries and states to lock down with their intention of curbing the spread. This had the result of closing down a number of sets, which has a knockout effect of delaying quite a few projects. Simply put, this meant that more and more movies and series found themselves unable to meet the release dates that they had previously signed to themselves, causing quite a few fans to be left disappointed. Essentially, this resulted in both streaming platforms and networks making the decision to no longer announce release dates for their upcoming titles, as even after their national lockdowns were over, delays were aplenty, with the new regulations and safety precautions causing a number of delays with each and every positive test that showed up. It was said to be far better to leave fans waiting for more information than dangle a release date in front of them, only to delay it again and again. In other words, the decision was made to only announce a release date once the series or film had wrapped both filming and post-production, ensuring that no more delays could get in the way of its release. And as we mentioned earlier, things were looking good for Rogue Hostage, which had practically wrapped up filming in September of last year already. But this is when Vertical Entertainment made another decision, which was to wait for theaters to reopen across the globe before releasing Rogue Hostage to the world. And now that vaccination rollout is at an all-time high, with many theaters now being operational, we finally have a release date. As such, we're happy to announce that Rogue Hostage will finally be coming to an open theater near you 11th of June this year. The platform of Rogue Hostage. There has been a bit of confusion as to where Rogue Hostage can be viewed though, especially since some countries still find themselves shut down partially by nationwide lockdown procedures. What we can tell you is that where theaters are open, Rogue Hostage will be 100% available to view. As far as online viewing is concerned, Vertical Entertainment have announced that the film will be available to stream, but unfortunately left out any information regarding which platforms the film would be available on. A likely situation is that Rogue Hostage will spend its first few weeks at the box office, with Vertical Entertainment making a plan to increase viewability of the movie shortly thereafter by selling the rights to a number of streaming platforms. But whether this will include Netflix, Amazon Prime, and the rest of the usual suspects, we absolutely have no idea. So we'll just have to stick to the theaters for now, if at all possible. The cast of Rogue Hostage. When it comes to the cast of Rogue Hostage, it looks like viewers will be in for a treat. Taking on the leading role is none other than Tyrese Gibson, who will be portraying the character of Kyle Snowden. From the trailer, we're able to see that Snowden is an ex-Marine who's struggling quite badly with post-traumatic stress disorder, no doubt acquired from many missions he previously ran before coming home to the safety of his state. Definitely a far cry from what we're used to seeing Tyrese in, who is usually the comic relief in action franchises such as The Fast and the Furious. Another incredible cast member is John Malkovich, who will be taking on the role of Tyrese's stepfather, a U.S. congressman and sporting goods entrepreneur by the name of Sam Nelson. Christopher Backus then takes on the role of villain in the film, who's been named Eagan Raize, while Michael Jai White will be playing the part of the congressman's bodyguard, Sparks. Other names of importance include Luna Lauren Velez, John D. Hickman, Brenda Jaquette, Zany Jones, Charlie Sarah, Adrian Alvarado, and Leslie Stratton, all of whom will be playing side roles in the anticipated action thriller. And as we mentioned earlier, the entire direction of this feature has been placed in the hands of Jon Keeyes, who's probably best known for his 2017 horror thriller, The Harrowing. Quite a big difference between that and Rogue Hostage, but by the look of the trailer, there's quite a lot to be excited about. The overall plot of Rogue Hostage. True to its word and advertising, Rogue Hostage looks to be paying homage to Die Hard and the type of heroics that we would expect from the one and only John McClane. As an ex-Marine suffering from emotional problems as a result of his previous tours, Kyle Snowden finds himself at Sam Nelson's sporting goods store. The only problem with this scenario is that there are groups of terrorists with some or other vendetta against the U.S. congressman, resulting in the entirety of the store being put on lockdown with a threat of an explosive end for anyone who tries to escape. What makes this scenario even worse is the fact that Sam Nelson is actually Snowden's stepfather, placing him in a similar position to what we saw in John McClane back in the first Die Hard film. We can expect him to get all ups and sorts of mischief, working with Sparks, the bodyguard, in an effort to undermine the terrorist plans before anyone can get hurt. And while we can probably expect explosions at some point during the runtime of the film, the trailer paints the picture of Snowden as a stealthy operative who will be taking out terrorists alone rather than in a group, at least until the hostages are no longer in danger. Another aspect of this film we can't wait to see has to do with Snowden's emotional state. We are aware that he's suffering from PTSD, which makes it more difficult to do all types of normal activities, let alone fighting off an entire terrorist cell. This is why we can most likely expect some or other emotional character development where Snowden starts out as a bit of a mess only to overcome his fears in an effort to save as many people as possible. Who knows, he might even have PTSD due to the fact that he was unable to save a friend or colleague of his in another hostage situation, making this even more important for his overall development. So what do you think about this upcoming action movie? Feel free to let us know in the comments section down below.